Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. And today I'm using a brand new deck that I just got in the mail. It's called the Duality deck, or the Duality cards by Tanya. And I'm so excited to use this deck. I actually have not read with it yet. I just got it in the mail and I just opened it and really quickly looked through the cards, and I haven't done a reading yet. So this is the first reading I've done with this deck. Okay, so I'm going to draw 3 cards, one for each section of the week. And let me just move my camera here. Okay, and I think I'm just going to zoom out so you can actually see the cards. Okay. Oh, I can see my reflection in the cards. They're so shiny. Okay, so we'll start with the first card, which represents Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And here we have patience. So for some reason, I don't want to see the word patience at the beginning of the week this week. So we're starting off Monday and Tuesday with perhaps an increased need to be patient in our lives. And as you can see on the picture, there's right at the bottom, there's like a little plant that's just sprouting. And I love how her hair turns into tree roots here, or tree trunks. And that makes me think of kind of what happens underground when a plant grows. So most plants have like a pretty big root system, and the roots kind of happen first before the plant actually kind of sprouts, above the soil. And I think that sometimes we think, there's not, I kind of want to make that analogy between kind of gardening and then like our expectations in life. So sometimes when you plant things, it takes a while for that seed to, grow roots and do its thing before you actually see the results of it. So before it actually breaks the surface of the soil. And it's kind of the same in life, I think, with things that you're working towards and goals and stuff like that, and things that you're wanting to create. There has to be almost like a foundation first, or how you have to kind of put down roots with something before it's going to bear fruit, or before it's going to break the surface and flower and come to fruition. So definitely a lot of patience needed in the first part of the week, and kind of reminding yourself that just because you don't see results of some of the things that you've been working towards doesn't mean that nothing is happening. It's really important to remember sometimes. And it's interesting, I went to a talk last night on mushrooms, and one thing that was said in this talk that I thought was amazing is that a quarter of the Earth's mass is actually mushrooms. And that sounds crazy, but what it means is that the mushrooms that you see, when you're out hiking or whatever and you see mushrooms, those are actually like the fruit of the mushroom. Most of the actual mushroom or the fungi is below the earth, and they have these big kind of sort of root system things that happen. And so most of the mushroom, I think it's called mycelium, is below the surface of the earth, and most of the earth is like mushroom, which is really interesting. Okay, so moving on to the middle of the week, so Wednesday, Thursday, we've got habit. And I love how there's like a little frog here. But here we have the card of habit. And habit can be positive and it can be negative. So when I see the word habit and I look at this card, I think of like negative habits that we're just kind of in the habit of. And then I also think of like positive habits and changing habits. And really, I think this card speaks to the power of habit. And habit is one of those things that we can overlook, and it may not seem that powerful to us. And we can almost kind of forget about what our habits are, because it's so kind of interwoven into the fabric of daily life, and it almost kind of camouflages itself. And actually, now that I'm saying camouflage, I'm looking at the frog, and frogs camouflage themselves, so that kind of really kind of coincides with this card nicely, and the artwork on it. So habits are those things that we kind of sometimes don't notice, but they are so powerful and they have such an effect. And it can, I mean, what our habits are can make the difference between whether we succeed at something or don't succeed, or whether we're healthy or unhealthy. So I think here it's showing up for us in the middle of the week, because the middle of the week is a good time for us to really take a look at our habits. And you don't even have to wait till the middle of the week. You can do it right now. But really take a look at what your habits are and what effect they're having on your life. And recently I did a food journal where I wrote down everything I ate for 5 days. And it really made me aware of what some of my eating habits were. So there's some weird eating habits, like I always want to read something when I'm eating. So if I'm eating by myself and I'm having breakfast or lunch or something, I always like look for something to read while I'm eating. And that's a habit I wasn't really totally aware of it. I mean, I knew I did it, but I didn't know I did it so much. And then there's of course like other habits that I know I have that are really good, and some that are really not good. So be aware of what your habits are this week, and you can even like keep a little journal about all your activities in a day. I mean, I know that sounds a bit obsessive and kind of crazy, but do it for like a week and then look at it, and that's when you really start to see some of the habits that you have, and see if you want to keep those habits, do you want to change them, and just be aware of what effect those habits are having for you. Moving on to the end of the week, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have purity. Interesting. For some reason, I'm just speechless with this card. I'm not sure how to interpret purity. And I love the imagery here of the lilies. Lilies are so beautiful. I love lilies. Yeah, so that's such an interesting card. So I'm actually going to open it up to you, the viewer, and let me know in the comment section how you feel that this card of purity, what do you feel that it will mean for you? Or what do you feel like it means in general for the end of the week? So I'm just going to kind of go out on a limb and really kind of guess here, because nothing is jumping out to me in terms of purity, what purity means. But to me, when I look at this card and I think of that word purity, I think of things that are sort of unspoiled, something in its sort of natural state. And I actually feel like this weekend would be a good time to really kind of allow yourself to really be in your natural state. And maybe your natural state isn't what you would call purity. But what I mean by natural state is allowing yourself to be perhaps more authentic than you normally are. Really listening to your body, listening to your soul, and honoring yourself by doing the things that really speak to you this weekend, that you really have like a natural urge to do. Try not to repress anything too much this weekend, and really kind of let yourself be, I want to say like be natural, but I'm not sure how to explain that or what that means exactly. But maybe it will make sense to you. So yeah, letting yourself kind of exist in a pure kind of state. There's a certain innocence with this card. I feel like this card is really innocent, and I feel like that innocence and that purity is something that a lot of us come face to face with when we meditate. Or for some people it might be, when they do yoga or something like that, or when they go out in nature. But for me, it's when I meditate, I feel like I can get to that kind of place of being really kind of fresh and pure and innocent. So whatever that looks like for you, however you can get to that state of feeling really kind of pure and innocent and clear. So this has been your Oracle card reading for the week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've taken something from here and found it helpful. My name is Kate, and I'm from dailytarotgirl.com, and you can check out my website for free tarot spreads, deck reviews, and speaking of which, I'm going to be doing a review of this deck really, really soon. So stay tuned for that, and thanks so much for watching.